What's up guys, my name is Ace, and it looks like the first teasers for Season 5 of Modern Warfare are starting to roll out, and today I wanted to talk about this first teaser that was actually sent to Nick Mercs. But before we get into this, I just wanted to mention that Control Freak has boosted my code from 10% off up to 15% off until this Friday. So if you guys are looking to get a Control Freak for the very first time to help you guys improve your fine control over your aim with a controller, or if you're just looking to update and get some brand new Control Freaks, right now is the perfect time. I will leave a link to that down below. Just make sure you use the code exclusive for 15% off until this coming Friday. But back to the video, like I said, this is coming from Nick Mercs, and he was sent a package, and in this package was this chess piece, which is a rook, and in the base of that there is a USB drive which contained the video file of the teaser we're going to be looking at. So we will be circling back to that rook because it likely has some significance, but let's have a look at the actual teaser that he showed on his stream. So we got a few things to point out here. First up, this is from inside the engine of a train. It looks like looking directly at the train station, and we can actually visit the Warzone map right now, and we can see this exact engine from where this is filmed. Although, of course, we can't get inside this at the moment. And aside from that, there's not really much to go off of. There's a helicopter that flies by as well, and you can hear the horn of the train. But looking towards the top of the stream, on the top left, it says 6DTC7, which I honestly have no idea what that means. It might be completely meaningless, and it's just designed to fill out the screen, or it might have some sort of hidden meaning to it, or it might be a code for something. But as of right now, I don't know what that is, and I don't even really have any theories to go off of for that. But then in the top middle of the screen, it says August 5th, 2020, which is the date that the current Battle Pass runs out, and therefore it's the expected date for Season 5 to be launching. And then on the top right, it has the time, which is 10:46. So it looks like this is teasing the fact that August 5th, we will be getting Season 5, which is no surprise really, because normally when one season ends, the next one begins right away. And we already know exactly when Season 4 is ending because of the Battle Pass countdown. But the main thing about this little video teaser is the fact that they are clearly trying to show off a train and tease the train. And there have been leaks in the past that are hinting at the fact that there will be a train that goes around the map. And this is supported by the map change that they made at the start of Season 4, where they adjusted the route of a lot of the train tracks and they created a complete loop around this part of the map here. So they actually added a couple tunnels and bridges and stuff, and they made this a complete loop, whereas before Season 4, I don't think it ever did have the full loop to it. So it's pretty obvious that they've been setting up for some kind of a train that's actually going to be moving in the game, because that would be a really strange thing for them to do, to make that big of a change to just add track around the map and not end up doing anything with it. So I'm quite confident what this is teasing is we are going to have a train, kind of like Apex Legends train, that just kind of cruises around the map. It has loot on it, so you can loot from there, and you can use it to get around the map faster. But aside from that, we don't really have any other information. So that part's pretty interesting, but this is where I wanted to circle back to something that I actually think is a little more important, and this is the fact that that USB drive that Nick Mercs got came in a rook. And of course, that rook has to have some meaning behind it. There is some significance there. They wouldn't have packaged it in that way and sent it to him if it didn't have any sort of meaning to it. So there are currently a few theories floating around, and I wanted to share those theories today, including what I think is the most likely theory with this rook. But the first theory here is if we turn the map into a chessboard, the rooks obviously start out in the 4 different corners of the chessboard, and the chessboard is an 8x8 grid. And when you look at the Warzone map and you're zoomed out fully, it's a 9x9 grid. But if we eliminate all of the squares around the edges, because that's not technically in the playable area of the map, then we do get an 8x8 grid right here. And if we place where the rooks would be located on a chessboard, 3 of those rooks would be completely out of bounds on the Warzone map, so they can pretty much be ignored, I would think. And this leaves us with the 1 rook on the bottom right, which is the prison area. Now, it's worth noting, down in that prison area, we do have this 1 bunker that we could gain access to by getting, I believe it was the red key card, which, by the way, those key cards seem to have disappeared a long time ago. So you currently can't access these bunkers, to my knowledge at least. I haven't seen a red key card in a very long time. But perhaps that's going to come into play at some point with Season 5 as well. We don't really know. I do think this theory is possibly a bit of a stretch with the whole overlaying a chessboard on the map, but it is something I wanted to point out for you guys anyway. Also, I mean, if you just look at the prison, each of those towers kind of looks like a rook, so maybe it's got something to do with that, but this is what I would say is probably the least likely theory. This is the one that I'm buying the least. Next up, if we go back to Modern Warfare 2, there was a character called Rook. Now, this wasn't a playable character. He was just a guy driving a Jeep, and I think he showed up a couple times within the campaign. And he is a Task Force 141 soldier, and so maybe this Rook means they're going to be bringing Rook back as an operator in Modern Warfare. As for this theory, I think it seems more likely than the first theory, but at the same time, I also don't think this is it either. And the reasons for this is, first up, we have way too many of the Coalition operators, and we really need more Allegiance operators. And Rook being in Task Force 141 would fall under Coalition, and also he wasn't like a main character or anything, he was just a guy in the background driving a Jeep. So this brings us to the final theory, and I think this one is correct. I was doing some research and searching around on the COD Wiki, and I discovered that the emblem for the Shadow Company from Modern Warfare 2 is this, which is a Rook. And this Shadow Company was a private military corporation, and it was being run by General Shepard, who was the bad guy in Modern Warfare 2, who turned against Task Force 141. As a result, I think the most likely meaning for this Rook that was sent to Nick Merckx is we're going to be seeing a brand new faction on the Allegiance side, which is the Shadow Company. And with this, who knows, maybe we'll even see Shepard as an operator. I don't know about that one too much, but I do think we will be seeing the Shadow Company come as a faction, or at least we'll be seeing members of the Shadow Company come as operators on the Allegiance side. And this makes sense to me because, like I said, we've really been stacking heavy on the Coalition operators. We currently have 16 Coalition operators, not including the default ones. Whereas on the Allegiance side, we've only got 13. So yeah, out of all of these theories, that's the one I'm buying the most. We are likely going to be seeing the Shadow Company come, and possibly even General Shepard. And on top of this, it looks like we will be getting a train that actually cruises around at least one section of the Warzone map, and it will likely have loot attached to it. Now, this does bring up a big question for me. With Season 5, are we going to be getting more of a map change than just a train being added to it? Because if so, I'm probably going to be a little bit disappointed. I've started to reach the stage where, as much as I like the Warzone map, I think it's laid out very nice, and I'm quite happy with it, it's kind of getting old. And with Season 4, there was a lot of speculation that we were going to see some really big, serious map changes, and that didn't happen. We just got a few little minor adjustments here or there, like the addition of this train track, and it didn't really change how the map played at all. It didn't give us any unique new points of interest or anything. It was just a train track that was added. And if it turns out that with Season 5, all they do is add a train on top of that train track and they leave the rest of the map basically untouched, I'm probably going to be a bit disappointed. Now, what I would really like to see is maybe they add that train and they also open up the stadium. That's the big thing that I'm waiting for, because the stadium area of the map, I consider that to be kind of like a big dead zone on the map, and it's kind of just an area you pass through if needed. So I think it would be awesome if they would open the stadium up for Season 5, and who knows, maybe even completely change or add new points of interest on the map. That would be something that I would also really like to see, just because things are getting kind of stale. I feel like at this point, I'm just getting bored of going at the same places all the time, over and over, and the entire dynamic of the map just hasn't changed at all, and I don't think adding a train is going to be enough to change that for me. And map changes are something that you normally expect with a Battle Royale game. That's one of the many things you can do to really keep the game feeling fresh as time goes on, because at the end of the day, you're playing the same map over and over and over again. And if you're doing that for many months at a time, no matter how good the map is, it's going to start to feel stale, and therefore this is why most Battle Royale games will change their map up over time. But in either case, that's all we have so far based on this first initial teaser for Season 5. I do expect that we'll be seeing more teasers and trailers and information as we go on throughout the next week or two, because Season 5 is coming up in just 2 weeks. And the things I'm looking forward to the most at this point within the context of Season 5 is I do want to see which weapons we're going to end up seeing. As of right now, it's been leaked that we may be seeing an AN-94 as well as a Remington 700 and maybe even a G28. So yeah, when it comes to future teasers, I'm hoping we get some hints at these new weapons. But with that, I'd like to know in the comment section below. First up, what do you guys think about this teaser? Do you think it means that we're going to have a train that cruises around the map and has loot and stuff attached to it? And also, what do you guys think about the Rook theory? What do you think that Rook means? Do you agree with me? Do you think it means we are going to be having the Shadow Company come into the game as a new faction? Or do you think it means something completely different? Just let me know all of those thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.